Okay, hello everyone. A while ago I have seen on the DCS group, Digital Combat Simulator group on the Facebook, um, someone new in the community asking about Su-25 versus the free Su-25T. Um, they are quite old faces in Eagle Dynamics simulations, but they are also quite iconic in this sense. And like I have said, Su-25T is free and available to everyone who downloads DCS World, while the other Su-25 comes with the Flaming Cliffs 3 package or as a very cheap standalone by itself. Although if you can, I would highly suggest getting FC3 instead, because it's a pretty big package that contains like eight medium fidelity aircraft. Okay, how do we compare the two? Well, Su-25T is, as far as I remember, a late 80s to early 90s upgrade project of Su-25 to give it more precision weapon capabilities. Eventually, Russian Air Force decided not to follow on with mass production of the type, though it did see some operational service in operational trials on Chechnya, if I'm correct. In DCS World, we can see this reflected in Su-25T essentially being a Su-25 with more precision weapons capability. How does it achieve this? By having the Schwal targeting system. It's a camera coupled with a range finding as well as a target painting laser, so it can be used with laser guided weapons. Also for searching around and finding targets through the camera, and identifying targets in close air support situations, etc. So in that sense, it's much easier to use guided weapons with compared to Su-25A. Also, the main standoff feature of the Su-25T is that it also has the capability to use seed missiles, seed as in suppression of enemy air defenses. Basically, you can carry, if I'm correct, up to 4 or 6 air-to-ground anti-radiation missiles that will target radars of the surface-to-air missile systems. To be able to use that, you need to carry Phantasmagoria ECM pod, which is available to Su-25T. And a feature not everybody knows about is that if you also open your Schwal camera and slew around Phantasmagoria's targeting carrot, you will see that Schwal camera is also going to follow. And this way you can also use non-anti-radiation missiles to target radars that are painting you or your flight, or well, let's just say enemy radars. You can tell I'm not very good at this. The original Su-25, on the other hand, is a quite proper Cold War bird. It's like an old warbird with more advanced modernish technologies, at least Cold War modernish. It's like a Sturmovik in a sense. You have lots of pylons that can carry lots of weapons, and at low speeds you have okay agility, so close air support is something you can do fairly decently, and it was the original intention of the type. It's a primarily close air support platform. Su-25 is quite good in using unguided weapons very accurately. How does it achieve this? It's through a laser range finding and targeting system. As far as I remember, it's named Clion. It's also situated on the nose of the Su-25. In some ways, it's perhaps similar to ARB's system on Harrier and some later marks of the A4. With this system, you can quite accurately target for unguided rockets, including quite high caliber ones, or just simple dump bombs, cluster munitions, just all sorts of conventional weaponry, of which you can carry a lot. Just like the Su-25T, it also carries the 30mm GSH 30-2 cannon, and it's a quite powerful cannon. It's still not nearly as powerful as the A-10's Avenger Gatling, but if you can target tanks from side or rear or through the top and be accurate, and the gun itself is fairly accurate, you can actually hurt even proper tanks, and with a decently long burst you can even destroy. Although both Su-25s are mainly more for delivering heavy ordnance on targets, be it in forms of bombs, rockets, missiles, what have you. Does all of the things that I've said mean that you cannot use guided missiles with original Su-25? No, of course not. You can actually use quite a few types of laser guided missiles on the original Su-25 as well. However, it is actually kind of difficult and is a fun skill to improve, but Su-25T does that just easier and better, as well as offering you more choice in form of TV guided bombs, TV guided missiles, which are fire and forget, at least on non-moving targets, as well as obviously anti-radar missiles. In Su-25A, you need to hold the plane very steady in a dive which is not too shallow, but not overly steep either. Otherwise, you'll be pretty much kissing the target before the missile hits, and they will be able to return fire. You can lock the target and the laser will stabilize on where the target is, but this stabilization works only so well. If you throw the aircraft around too much, it will not be able to keep the laser on the target, and your missile will go wildly off target. Thus, it is important for you to keep the aircraft steady, trim it well, or be a perfect stickman that can hold it steady without trimming. Su-25T has autopilot options to help you with that. You can command attitude hold, and you can also move the laser target pipper slightly with your target designation control. But you shouldn't go too wild with it, otherwise you may still miss the target. So you can use laser guided missiles for precision hits, and the missiles are powerful. They will take out even an Abrams tank in one hit, but they're not terribly easy to use, and you will need to keep flying towards the targets in a steady fashion, which means you're a relatively easy target for return fire from anti-aircraft artillery or missiles. So, in my opinion, with how accurate it is using unguided rockets and bombs, I think Su-25 is much better in using them against high threat environments, and use its speed to survive. Both versions of the Su-25 is quite survivable against lots of machine gun or autocannon hits. They can even shrug off some light anti-aircraft missiles like Stinger and Igla manpads. But your main defense is being able to fire your rockets from afar and just turn back, speed away, dump your flares, of which both versions have quite a lot. Su-25s are actually quite faster compared to their counterpart, the A-10 Warthog. Warthog can be perhaps more agile, but Su-25 is definitely much faster. Their top speeds may look similar to you, but Su-25s are much happier accelerating, and they can keep their speed. In fact, the biggest challenge in flying them, if you get them too slow and stall, they may not want to accelerate quickly. But if you get them to accelerate, they will not want to slow down quickly either. When you look at all the things I have said, it would probably appear like the free Su-25T is like certainly the better of two, but to be perfectly honest, I like Su-25A better. Why is that, you might ask, and probably scratch your heads. Well, Su-25T is a heavier aircraft. It's based on the two-seater version. The second seat is deleted, faired over, and its space is used for additional avionics and fuel. Besides that, it has lots of additional equipment. If you look at its tail, it has infrared jammer, which doesn't work too well. It's a system that was tried and found to be not all that satisfactory, but well, you have it. You may spoof some infrared missiles to some degree, but the point is Su-25T has a lot more piled up on the airframe. Thus, it's much heavier, and in comparison with the Su-25, it flies like a truck. It's like comparing a muscle car with a truck. Thus, especially for using unguided weapons, I really prefer using Su-25A. If the situation commands engaging lots of tanks in open field though, well, yeah, sure, great, I can use Su-25T, use its camera and its ability to carry 16 Vickers missiles to kill lots of tanks, or use its anti-radiation missiles in a high-threat environment. I personally think the two versions of the Su-25 are better for different scenarios. If I'm going to engage a convoy, give me a Su-25 and let me go to town. If I'm going to engage more specific point targets in a higher threat environment, Su-25T is the better one in that case. Even though 25T is the free one and the more capable one overall, I would definitely suggest anyone who has Flaming Cliffs to check Su-25A out, because in my opinion it's a really fun aircraft to fly and take out lots of targets in. So long and short, Su-25T, targeting camera, anti-radar missiles, lots of Vickers missiles, and fairly useless infrared jammer. Su-25A, not all of those precision guided stuff, with some laser guided missile capability and a much more agile, much quickly accelerating, much nicer to use airframe for non-guided air-to-ground attacks. Well, there you have it. I hope it helps in choosing and flying these wonderful aircraft in DCS. Hope to see you later.